What's up guys, this is Massey. Welcome to another video. In this video I want to show you how to solve trigonometric equations, and I'm gonna have different examples. First example I have here is tan squared theta minus plus tan theta minus 12 equals to 0, and I want to solve it for theta between 0 and 2 pi. So as you see here, we have quadratic equation. Here we have negative 12 and this one is plus 1, so we can use factoring method to have it as plus 4 and tan theta minus 3 equals to 0, because 4 times negative 3 is negative 12, and when you add them it's going to be 1. So it means that we have two answers. One of them is tan theta equals to negative 4 and tan theta equals to 3. So theta is going to be tan inverse of negative 4 and tan inverse of positive 3. So we have negative 4. That's going to make it in quadrant 2 and quadrant 4. So we have 180 minus 76, which is going to be 104, and the other answer is going to be 360 minus 76 is going to be 284 degrees. Then you need to find out tan inverse of 3. Since it's positive, we have two answers, one in quadrant 1, one in quadrant 3. One answer is going to be 72, and the other answer is going to be 180 plus 72. That's going to be 252 degrees. So the answers are 72 degrees, 104 degrees, 252 degrees, 284 degrees. So these are going to be the four answers. Another example, we have tan squared theta minus tan theta minus 2 equals to 0. Again, we need to solve it for theta, changing from 0 to 2 pi. Can you factor it? We are looking for two numbers multiplied to negative 2 and add to negative 1. So if we have negative 2 and positive 1, that's going to give me the answer. So tan minus 2, tan theta plus 1. As you see here, when I multiply that, it's going to give me negative 2. When I add them, it's going to be negative 1. So we have two answers. One of them tan theta equals to 2. One of them tan theta equals to negative 1. So theta equals to tan inverse of 2, which will be in quadrant 1 and quadrant 3. That's going to be 63 degrees. Quadrant 1. In quadrant 3 is going to be 180 plus 63 is going to be 243 degrees. Next one is going to be when it is negative 1. So that's going to be, we know it's tan 45 is positive 1, so 180 minus 45 is going to be 135. It's going to be one answer, and the other answer is going to be in quadrant 4, which is 360 minus 45, which is 315. So the answers are 63 degrees, 135 degrees, 243 degrees, and 315 degrees. So these are going to be the four answers. Let's see another example. Another example is going to be secant squared theta plus tan theta minus 3 equals to 0. We know secant squared, and we need to solve it for 0 to 2 pi. Secant squared theta is 1 over cosine squared theta, which is going to be sine squared plus cosine squared over cosine squared, because we know sine squared plus cosine squared is 1. So that's going to make it tan squared theta plus 1. So instead of secant squared theta, I can write tan squared plus 1. So it's going to be tan squared theta plus 1 plus tan theta minus 3 equals to 1. So we have tan squared theta plus tan theta minus 2 equals to 0. So now I need to use quadratic formula. A is 1, B is 1, C is negative 2. 1, 1, negative 2. When you do the quadratic formula, the answer is going to be negative 2 and 1. Yep, and you could also factor that. 10 plus 2, tan theta minus 1. Because when you multiply that, it's going to be negative 2. When you add them, it's going to be 1. It's opposite to the previous question. So tan theta equals to negative 2. Tan theta equals to positive 1. When it is positive 1, we know it's going to be 45 degrees or 180 plus 45, which is going to be 225. Tan theta equals to negative 2. I'm going to basically have it in here. 63 degrees is going to be positive 2. So it's going to be 180 minus 63 and 360 minus 63. So we have two answers, 117 degrees and 297 degrees. So we have 45 degrees, 117 degrees, 225 degrees, 297 degrees is going to be the four answers. Next one is cotan squared theta minus 9 equals to 0. So we need to solve it. Theta is changing from 0 to 2 pi. So cotan squared theta equals to 9, which means that cotan theta equals to either positive 3 or negative 3. It means that tan theta equals to 1 over 3 or tan theta equals to negative 1 over 3. So theta will be tan inverse of 1 over 3, tan inverse of negative 1 over 3. That's going to be 18 degrees. And 180 plus 18 is going to be 198. The other one is going to be 180 minus 18 is going to be 162 degrees. And this one is going to be 360 minus 18 is going to be 342 degrees. So it's going to be 18, 162, 198, and 342 degrees is going to be the answer to this question. Next example, we have secant squared theta minus 4 secant theta equals to 0 when theta is changing from 0 to 2 pi. When you factor, you have secant theta, secant minus 4 equals to 0. So you have secant theta equals to 0 and secant theta equals to 4. So we have cosine theta is 1 over 4, and here we have cosine theta equals to, basically cannot be secant theta equals to 0, cannot be 0. Why? Because secant is 1 over cosine, and 1 over cosine never is going to be 0. So we have only cosine theta equals to 1 over 4. So theta is going to be cosine inverse of 1 over 4. That's going to be 75 degrees. And the other answer is going to be in quadrant 4, which is cosine positive there, 285 degrees. So these are going to be the two answers to this question. Next one, we have cosecant squared theta minus 5 cosecant theta equals to 0. Again, theta is changing from 0 to 2 pi. We factor cosecant theta, so it's cosecant theta minus 5 equals to 0. So we have two answers, cosecant equals to 0 or cosecant equals to 5. This one there is no answer because cosecant is 1 over sine and that cannot be 0. Cosecant theta is 5, which means that sine theta is 1 over 5 or 0.2. So theta equals to sine inverse of 0.2, which is 12 degrees, and we have one answer in quadrant 2, which is 180 minus 12, which is going to be 168 degrees is going to be the answer. Next example is cosecant squared theta plus 3 cosecant theta minus 4 equals to 0. So we are looking for two numbers multiplied to -4 and add to 3, and theta is changing to 0 to 2 pi. So that's gonna be 4 and -1, so cosine theta 4 cosecant theta -1. So it means that we have two answers. One of them cosecant theta equals to -4, one of them cosecant theta equals to +1. This one is gonna give us sine theta equals to -1/4. This one is gonna make it sine theta equals to 1. So theta is 1 at pi/2 or 90 degrees. Sine theta equals to, that's gonna be quadrant 3 and quadrant 4, which is 180 plus 14 and 360 minus 14, which are going to be 194 degrees and 346 degrees. So we have three answers: 90 degrees, 194 degrees, and 346 degrees is going to be the answers. And finally, the last question, we have secant squared theta plus 2 secant theta minus 8 equals to 0. When you factor in -8 and +2, so we have secant -4, +4 and secant -2. When you multiply them, it's going to -8. When you add them, it's going to be +2. So you have secant theta equals to -4 and secant theta equals to +2. So secant theta is going to be -1/4. Secant theta equals to 1/2. So actually cosine, I meant cosine. So inverse of cosine, that's gonna be 180 minus 76, 104 degrees. The other one is gonna be 180 plus 76, which is gonna be 256. Here we have cosine theta 1/2, which is going to be pi/3, that's 60 degrees, and also 360 minus 60, which is going to be 300 degrees. So we have 60 degrees, 104 degrees, 256 degrees, and 300 degrees. These are going to be the 4 answers to this question. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to subscribe this channel. Thank you for watching and have a great day.